Hello everyone, this is your math assignment for Wednesday, March 18th. We are going to be on page 243 of your math book. This is the cumulative review. We do these every time we finish a math chapter. These, remember, don't take you very long because it's just reviewing everything that you should know up until this point. But I want to look at a couple of things with you and remind you of just a few things. If you look at number 1 through 5, they all deal with problems with those zeros. Okay, so if you have a division problem like number 1, 5,600 divided by 70, remember the first thing you can do is take a 0 out of each side. Take that 0 off of the 70, take the 0 off the 5,600. Now all you have to do is 560 divided by 7. Don't add back any zeros at the end. You already crossed them out. You got rid of them, and that'll be your answer. Okay? So if you do multiplication like number 2, you've got 2 zeros there. 2 zeros need to be in your answer. So you would do 3 times 9 and then add 2 zeros to the end. And that should show you how to pick your answer on that one. Number 3, now that's addition. You need to line those numbers up and add them. You're not adding the zeros on like multiplication. And then 4 is subtraction. You line those up and subtract them. 5 is division. Again, you mark off a 0 off of that 30. You mark off of a 0 off of 9,060. And then you just do 3 into 906. And that'll give you the right answer. Don't add back any zeros at the end. They're already gone once you mark them off. 6 is a regular multiplication problem. Number 7, reminder. What am I going to say if it's an adding decimals? Line up the decimals. Line up the decimals. Make sure the decimals are together, and then you can add. Number 8, ask you about perimeter. Perimeter is what? The distance around a shape. So you are going to add all of those numbers all the way around that triangle. Now look at number 9. We know that all of the angles inside of a triangle need to equal, did you say it? 180 degrees. And so you're going to add up what's there, and then you're going to subtract it from 180 and figure out what the missing angle will be. Got it? Now look at 10. The 4 angles are, so you have a choice here. Are all of those angles acute, which is less than 90, obtuse, more than 90, right, 90 degrees, or straight, which is straight, 180, which would be straight. Okay, every angle in that rectangle is going to be a what angle? You pick that. 11. Chord EC, so that goes from one side to the next, is also a what? Is it a diameter? Diameter is a line that goes straight through a middle point. So does EC go through a middle point? I'm going to give you this one. Yes, it does. So 11 should be a diameter. Okay, now we're going to look at the back. Okay, looking at the back of that cumulative review sheet, we have 12 through 14 saying mark the equivalent fraction. So you're just going to need to change the denominator. So 2/3 is going to be the same as which one of those? And it's only going to be the one where if you multiply top and bottom by the same number, you're going to equal that fraction. Okay, so look at that one. If I multiply top and bottom, can it equal 3/4? No, because you can't multiply 2 times anything to get 3. Look at B. I can multiply 2 times 2 to get 4, but if I multiply 3 times 2, do I get 9? No. Look at C. If I multiply 2 times 2, I get 4. If I multiply the denominator, which is 3 times 2, also, I get 6. So C would be the answer. 13, you're going to, they want you to reduce that one. So what can you divide 5 and 10 both by? You divide that and you find your answer. 3/4, you're going to need to find a bigger fraction that equals the same as 3/4, just like we did in 12. And then 15 mark the true statement. So look at each one of those and decide what is true for that. Same thing for 16. 17 through 22 should be fairly recent review. We just finished with fractions. So being able to add 1/2 plus 1/4, you can't just add that, right? You have to change denominators. Make sure you remember how to do that. Same thing for all of the rest. Okay, that should be fairly new in your memory, and I want you to do your best to practice that on your own. Okay, now I'm going to show you the next page in the geometry chapter that we're going to be starting today. Okay, here we go. We get to do geometry. Geometry is a little break from everything else. It lets us mess with shapes and see math in a little bit different way. The first lesson here is quadrilaterals and other polygons. Quad means 4, right? So quad means 4. So quadrilaterals, four-sided shapes, and other polygons. If you look at your page there at the top, it says a polygon is a closed figure made of 3 or more line segments. So we have a circle, not a polygon. Why? Because there are no line segments. Okay. Then look at the next shape they give you, says not a polygon. Why? Because it's not closed. It's not brought together. There's an opening in it. That can't be a polygon. The next one, the pentagon, is a polygon, and not only is it a polygon, it's what's called a regular polygon. A regular means all of the angles are the same. So if you look at the next pentagon, you count the sides and you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but they're not all the same. They're not all the same angle. So that's called irregular. It's still a polygon, it's just not considered a regular polygon. Okay, now all of these shape names should be familiar to you. It should be basically review. But you have 2 directions for 1 through 6. Write the number of sides, so you're just going to count the sides, and then name the polygon according to its side. And look at that little handy box there to the side. It tells you exactly what the shapes are called according to their sides. So if you count number 1 and you say 1, 2, 3, 4, you write 4 sides. And look, there's no square there. But what's the 4-sided shape? Quadrilateral. That's the name for all 4-sided shapes, not just squares that have to be equal. So we are identifying shapes right now according to their sides. So 1 would be a quadrilateral, and you would write 4 sides there. 2, count the sides with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Look in your handy little box there. What's a 5-sided shape called? Pentagon. Good. You got this, right? Good. 7 and 8, give the name of the figure that is a polygon, and then explain why the other figure that looks kind of like an amoeba thing there is not a polygon. Why is it not? Right. It's kind of similar to the circle up there at the top, isn't it? It doesn't have any closed lines. It doesn't have points to it, and we need points. It's just got curves, and that means it's not a polygon. So look at 9. Circle the regular triangle. Regular, go back to the top. What does regular mean? All of the angles are the same. So the regular triangle there is going to be this one. You're going to circle that one. Explain what makes it regular. What did we say? All of the angles, not the sides, all of the angles are the same measurement. Okay, looking at the back. Now we're going to talk about the angles in a quadrilateral. Only the quadrilaterals right now. Because it is a polygon with 4 sides, I want you to remember something. When we talked about triangles, and we just talked about this earlier in the video, every triangle has how many degrees inside that triangle? 180. Right. Well, look at this. If you have a quadrilateral, I can split that quadrilateral right down there, and guess what I have? 2 triangles. So if a quadrilateral is made up, even this one, If a quadrilateral is made up of two triangles, how many degrees would be in a quadrilateral? 180 plus 180 would be 360, right? And they show you that at the top of the page here. So they tell you that it's 360, but I'm explaining to you why. Why? Because a quadrilateral has two triangles in it, and each triangle is 180. So 10 through 14 is not asking you about their degrees. It just wants you to use the characteristics over to the side and figure out which one goes with which, okay? So number 10, look at the sides, and they're grouping these. So this is one, and this is one, okay? So first of all, let's go with this one. All angles are right angles. What would that apply to? That would apply to 10, and that would apply to 11, wouldn't it? All angles are right angles. Now look at the other one. Opposite sides are parallel. Remember, parallel means never going to cross, right on top of each other, okay? Only one pair of opposite sides is parallel. So opposite sides are parallel. So that means this one has parallel sides. All of these are parallel. All of these are parallel. All of these are parallel. But which one is only one side is parallel? That's this one. See? These are parallel, but the other sides are not. Okay? So that would be only one side is parallel. And then the last one is talking about equal lengths. Opposite sides are equal lengths. That would go to all of these, right? They're all equal except for the trapezoid. Trapezoids are kind of odd anyway. They're the ones that are not going to be equal. Their angles aren't going to be equal, anything like that. So do your best to put underneath each one of those shapes what describes each one. And then look at 15 through 17. We have to figure out the measurement. And remember how we did this with triangles. You add up everything that's in there. And then you need to subtract it from what the total is going to be. And we know that the total is going to be 360. So you need to add up what's inside there and subtract it from 360, and that will give you your missing measurement. Same thing for here, same thing for here. And then look at the square and rectangle. How are a square and rectangle the same? How are they the same? Look at these square and rectangle up here. They're the same because they have all right angles, right? They have all right angles. Their sides are parallel. Opposite sides are equal. They're a lot the same. So you could put about 3 things there that make them the same. Okay, those are the 2 pages I wanted you to do today. Please stay with us. Try not to go ahead. And make sure you put the date at the top of each page. That would help us a lot to keep things in order and make sure you're staying on track of things and that we're staying together. Okay, have a great day.